presents this very special episode of
Camp Car World Series. In the 5 races that followed, parity and the pitfalls of the world's most demanding form of auto racing turned the fight for the championship into a 3-man race. Now entering the home stretch, the drama is just beginning. Tracy's last 5 races have produced mixed results, with victories in Vancouver and Mid-Ohio. But a crash in the rain at Road America dropped him from the top of the standings. Brazilian Bruno Junqueira won that race to top the points for the first time in his career. But he followed with a pair of poor finishes to fall back in the pack. Then scored a win 3 weeks ago in Denver to draw within striking distance of Tracy. While Michel Jourdain Jr., always the model of consistency, has put his car in the top 6 in 4 of the last 5 races. And a pair of wins has put the Mexican driver a close third in the title chase. Now, with just 4 races remaining, a marathon season has been transformed into a sprint to the finish. Each driver knowing that one small mistake could ruin his shot at a $1 million title. Today, the streets of sun and fun-loving Miami, Florida will provide the backdrop for the race that will decide who's hot and who's not at championship time. Biscayne Boulevard in Biscayne Bay in Downey. Welcome to the Grand Prix Americas. Well, autumn is officially underway, but you'd hardly guess, judging from the weather conditions here in Miami. Temperatures approaching 90 degrees, very high humidity. This is going to be a very difficult and pivotal round of the 2003 championship here on CBS. Hello, everybody. I'm Bob Varsha. A year ago on this very racetrack, Cristiano D'Amata completed a dominated season by winning the championship with 3 races to go. Flash ahead 1 year, and we have no fewer than 5 drivers still alive in the championship with those same 3 races remaining. Now, just ask our points leaders about the ebb and flow of outrageous racing fortune, and they'd be the first to tell you that anything can happen here in Miami. How about Paul Tracy? Friday's early morning practice in a gentle rain, he hit a diabolical bump and crashed into the trackside wall. In dry running and qualifying that afternoon, he somehow ran only 2 of his 3 allowed laps, a humiliation for the points leader. In final qualifying, he set the session leading time, but then 4/10 up on his previous best effort, he threw it all away within spitting distance of the checkered flag and was furious with himself afterward. Let's meet him now with Calvin Fish.
Well, Bob, we're down at crunch time in this championship. We're on the grid here. Paul Tracy's trying to stay cool. It's not been a smooth weekend for you, mate. Can you recover today?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's we're starting 5th. We're not far away from the front, so I think we have a good chance. The car was good this morning in warm-up. We were 2nd quickest, so it's a long race, a long physical race, very hot, so being there at the end is going to be important.
6 wins this year, but every win has come from the front row. The man who's closest to you in the championship, Bruno Junqueira, starts on the front row. What is your strategy today? Do we see a PT first lap like we normally see? You're going to be conservative?
I think I'll just drive the way I always do, and if I can get a couple positions, that's great. I think Bruno's in a little bit trickier of a situation than me because he's got Adrian, who wants to win a race this year and going into Mexico, and you got Servia, who's trying to keep his ride for next year. So they're both very hungry, and he's sandwiched in between them. So,
all right, PT, good luck. The bad news for PT is his teammate who helped him out in Denver starts all the way back in 18th spot. Bob.
All right, thanks very much, Calvin. Now, Paul Tracy hasn't been alone in his troubles. How about second in points? Bruno Junqueira. Same Friday morning practice in the rain. He crashed at the identical spot Tracy did. In qualifying, Friday's opening round, he was the fastest car on track and picked up a bonus championship point. Then yesterday in final qualifying, he overstepped the bounds and crashed heavily. But the car was repaired and will be ready to start today's race. Look at that impact for Bruno Junqueira. He's standing by with Brian Till.
Well, last season, Bruno Junqueira's childhood friend, Cristiano D'Amata, beat him to the championship in this very car. But, Bruno, you've got the championship-winning car. You got a front-row start. That's got to bode well for you today.
For sure, and that's really important, this race for us. The Pacific Air and the Haas team are doing a great job, and I hope we can do a good race and do what Cristiano did last year, win the championship.
Well, the pressure of the championship, 17 points to PT. You got 4 races to go. Can you do it?
Yeah, sure, I can do it. I believe myself, and I'm going to start to do it today.
Well, he's got the confidence, guys. We'll see if he's got the broad shoulders to carry him to the championship. Bob?
It should be a great race, Brian. Here's a look at the 5 drivers still alive in the championship and where they will start the day. Paul Tracy will start from 5th, Bruno Junqueira 2nd, Michel Jourdain Jr. 6th, Sebastian Bourdais 4th, just behind his teammate, and Patrick Carpentier, Tracy's teammate, as Calvin Fish mentioned, had problems in qualifying. He will start all the way back in 18th. Joining me now, as always, racing champion Tommy Kendall. And Tommy, between Paul Tracy and Bruno Junqueira, we have a great contrast in style.
Well, we really do. But to understand the pressure they're under, you have to understand the differences between auto racing and every other sport. We don't have a Super Bowl. We don't have majors. The whole season leads to the one big prize, which is the championship. Now, they're both chasing the same prize, but their styles could not be more different. With the heat here, it's not, I don't think, inappropriate to make a cooking comment. If their styles were put in the kitchen, Bruno would be working on this roast all day long, fine-tuning it, whereas Paul Tracy would take a flamethrower to the Thanksgiving turkey. Just full speed ahead, everything he's got. They're very close. Paul's a little bit ahead, but either way, the heat is on at this point in the season.
And, of course, we have spoilers in the championship, or potential spoilers, we should say. Sitting on the pole, proven winner, Adrian Fernandez, the only owner-driver in the series, always quick on the road courses, but I don't think anybody was looking for Fernandez to do what he did yesterday in final qualifying, go quicker than anybody. Let's meet him now with Calvin.
Well, Bob, as TK mentioned, it's all about staying cool today, and that's exactly what Adrian Fernandez was yesterday, putting his car on the pole position. And Adrian, you're not in the thick of this championship battle. You're 7th in points. I assume all you're going for today is victory.
Absolutely. You know, the car has been very consistent. The crew's been very consistent in everything we've done this weekend, so I feel very confident. Obviously, pit stops and other issues can come in play, but we feel pretty comfortable to be able to pull it out. Obviously, the weather is one of the biggest problems. It's very hot, it's very humid, so I'm just trying here to sweat as least as possible so then I can get it a go.
He's looking good right now, very relaxed. He's going to be going for career victory number 9 today, Bob.
That he is, Calvin. Now let's talk about the rookie battle. We could see the championship for the freshmen clinch today. Sensation Sebastian Bourdais of France has a 61-point lead over Englishman Darren Manning. If that number is 61 points by the end of the day, Bourdais will clinch the Jim Truman Rookie of the Year award with 3 races to go. What kind of a season has Sebastian Bourdais had? Easily among those of the top rookies of the last decade. Going back to 1993, Nigel Mansell won the overall championship with 5 wins. Same for Juan Pablo Montoya in 1999. Sebastian Bourdais will not clinch the overall championship, but he has still had an absolutely spectacular season. Brian Till is with him.
Well, Sebastian Bourdais, your rookie season has been compared to the likes of Juan Pablo Montoya and Nigel Mansell, and that's pretty heady company.
Yeah, for sure. To be compared to such as guys, it's pretty amazing. But you know, I'm just trying to perform well, and obviously with this McDonnell Lily car and Humanas, we're doing a good job. So, you know, we're just gonna try to keep up and finish up front and do what we have to.
Well, obviously, we know you're a racer and you want to win races. You start today just ahead of Paul Tracy, behind your teammate Junqueira, who's going for the championship. Is it about winning races for you right now, or is it about helping Bruno win the championship?
It's always about trying to win races. Obviously, different parts of the race. We'll have sometimes where I will have to push, and sometimes I will have maybe to back off a bit. But you know, first is the target is to be up front, to try to win the race, and if there is a point that of interest for the team, you know, we will do that after that.
Well, that's what we said, guys. He's a champion. He's a race winner. He wants to win races. If it comes to protecting his teammate, he will. Bob?
A selfless act from a teammate. Now, whether you're on the sandy beach in daytime or South Beach at nighttime, Miami is a very cool place. But we have a treacherous racetrack along world-famous Biscayne Boulevard. And consider this, nearly half the field of drivers in today's race make their homes in the Miami area. This is a home game for them. CBS Sports. Welcome back to Miami. Cars are now on track. Let's turn to our starting grid powered by Ford. On the pole, Adrian Fernandez, his first of the year. He starts next to Bruno Junqueira, second in the championship coming in. On row 2, Oriol Servia riding a string of 2 straight top 3 finishes in recent races. Next to rookie leader and the fastest man in the morning warm-up, Sebastian Bourdais of France. On row 3, Paul Tracy, the championship leader. Next to the man who is 3rd in the championship, 39 points behind Tracy, Michel Jourdain Jr. of Mexico. On row 4, Roberto Moreno and Mario Dominguez, the Herdez competition teammates. Back on row 5 will be young Portuguese Tiago Monteiro driving Great champion Emerson Fittipaldi starting next to Canadian Alex Tagliani. On row 6, 96 Series champion Jimmy Vasser finished third here on the streets of Miami last year. He starts next to rookie Darren Manning of England. On row 7, Mario Haberfeld starts next to fellow rookie Ryan Hunter-Reay, who hails from nearby Boca Raton, Florida. On row 8, Mika Salo, the Formula One veteran from Finland, will start next to Mexican rookie Rodolfo Levine. Back on row 9, American Jeff Boss from Narragansett, Rhode Island starts next to Patrick Carpentier, 5th in points, and Alex Barafico on the back row as we go green. Bruno Junqueira immediately around Adrian Fernandez for the lead. On board with Paul Tracy.
And Tracy's gotten around Bourdais in turn 1.
Streaming through the Fountain Square for the first time.
Thiago Monteiro side by side with Darren Manning, the orange and blue and the red, blue and white Reynards. Still side by side.
Whoa. Difficult to do on this very narrow run under the trees down to Biscayne Boulevard. On board with Manning.
And Monteiro finally gets the position.
This section of track was added. Last year they ran short of this area, but this was added to give some length to the circuit. And then they go bounding over a huge bump onto Biscayne Boulevard at the start-finish straightaway. Fernandez looks down the inside. He'll make a move on Junqueira.
Wow. That is exactly what Paul Tracy was talking about in his interview, where Bruno's in a tough spot. He's surrounded by 2 guys who don't have any concerns about points, only want to win this race. So Fernandez, that was a really late pass. Really, it would have taken both cars out probably under normal circumstances. Bruno had every right to turn in as Paul Tracy takes a look at Oriol Servia. But he left the door open. Even if he slams the door, even if he's entitled to that, if he's right, doesn't mean any good if he's on the side of the road.
So Fernandez reassumes the lead from Paul, and as you see, Paul Tracy very aggressive up the gearbox of Oriol Servia, that orange and white car up ahead.
And how about Paul Tracy? Sebastian Bourdais came over to Paul right before they got in their car and said, hey, Paul, if you try a pass like you did on the first lap at Montreal, I'm turning in and we will crash. Well, a little verbal warfare. Look at this. Tagliani right in the middle of both Herdez cars.
Roberto Moreno ahead, Mario Dominguez behind. The circuit is 1.15 miles around with no fewer than 14 corners. But in changing the track from last year, they eliminated 6 very tight corners, so the track, although shorter, is much faster. Average lap speeds up around 93 miles per hour. On board with Tracy again.
As Bourdais started to put some heat on at the end of the back straightaway, saw the back end and Paul Tracy's car step out, rear wheels locked a little bit under braking. Look at that bump. Some of the guys, Jimmy Vasser says, oh, here's a replay of the start from onboard Paul's car. That's Servia on the left in front and Bourdais on the right. Those guys are side by side. And Paul basically follows Servia through. Bourdais couldn't pick up the throttle on the outside there.
They almost locked wheels. Very dangerous in these open-wheeled cars. Here's another look at Fernandez making that move down the inside at the last microsecond. Junqueira saw him, and you saw he lost a little momentum there. Servia might have had a shot around the outside. If he looked down the inside, he might have gotten through for second.
And Adrian Fernandez, it sounded like he surprised even himself when he made a bold move for the lead at Portland on Paul Tracy. He said, you know, I just decided to go for it. And when he was recounting, it's like he said, you know, that's very unlike him. Same thing again there. Adrian Fernandez not known for making a real bold, assertive thing. Always puts himself in position to win. Most of his wins have come that way rather than taking it by the scruff of the neck and making it happen like he did right there.
Each driver with 750 turbocharged horsepower under his right foot in a car weighing a little over 1,500 pounds. 4 sticky Bridgestone Racing radial tires at the corners.
I talked about the pressure that the championship leaders feel at this point in the season. It's probably an equal amount of pressure that Adrian Fernandez feels going into Mexico City. He's one of the most visible sportsmen in Mexico, carries a lot of the hopes and the dreams of that country on his shoulders, feels a lot of pressure as a result of that. So for him to go in there with a win is huge.
Mexico City is the next stop for the Champ Cars 2 weeks from now. How important? We have 4 Mexican drivers in the series right now. 2 more will be added for the Mexico City round. As you look back from on board, Oriol Servia, Tracy dropping back now. Here's another look at that move down in the corner. Oh, Roberto Moreno got punted down there in that lap-ending hairpin by Alex Tagliani. board with Moreno, who has lost none of his speed. We'll take a break and return with more of the Grand Prix Americas from Miami. Survivor Pearl Islands as a smash. Welcome back. Bob Varsha, Tommy Kendall, Brian Till, and Calvin Fish with you. Due to time constraints, we pick up the action on lap 36. Champ Car Grand Prix Americas. Now, one of the unique facets of Champ Car performance is mandatory pit windows. This race is set for 135 laps, but there is a mandatory pit window every 50 laps. A two-stop race. Subtract 50 laps from 135. You get 2 stops, and the window opens at lap 35. So right now, these drivers could stop and still make the finish on a minimum of 2 stops. Oriol Servia going by the lapped car at tremendous speed differential. Now on Biscayne Boulevard. Adrian Fernandez remains the race leader. That's Patrick Carpentier, Paul Tracy's teammate, being lapped by Bruno Junqueira, and here comes Servia to try to do the same.
And the lead group has come up on, it's Rodolfo Levine who's holding this whole train up, then Patrick Carpentier, then Mika Sala. Mika Sala did a really nice job getting out of the way of the leaders. Now Paul Tracy comes past his teammate. Bourdais did not get by behind him.
Listen for the wheel spin. The drivers have to stab the throttle. More lap traffic ahead. Race leader Adrian Fernandez in the blue and orange, in the green and orange car, beg your pardon. Coming up behind Rodolfo Levine in the blue, yellow, and white Corona car.
And I was wondering how long it would take the officials to get upset. We're hearing that Rodolfo Levine will be black flagged for not yielding to the race leaders. You saw how much it hurt Salo and Carpentier in terms of time to let those guys by, but they did it anyways. Levine's not doing any such thing, and he has now been given a black flag. He's going to have to stop in the pits, which will cost him much more than had he pulled over.
And look at the leaders queuing up on board with Tracy. Boy, like threading the needle at 100 miles an hour.
As you ride on board with Paul Tracy.
Here comes Levine to serve his penalty. Oh, we have a spin. That's Jeff Boss, the yellow car from Dale Coyne Racing. Leaders going by, and this will bring out a full course caution.
When Bourdais arrived with his rear wheels locked up, barely was able to tuck inside the spun car of Jeff Boss.
Looks as though Boss has lost the power. Drivers are instructed to open the visors on their helmets if they've lost power and need assistance. Caution is out for the first time. There is Boss.
Now, since the pit windows are in, I would expect everyone to be in the pits this time.
And here they come. Adrian Fernandez leads them in. Let's get down to the pit lane at Calvin Fish.
Well, it's a 35-mile-an-hour pit lane speed limit here, Bob, so we've got to bring it in really slowly. They need a good clean stop. Spoke to the team. The only change they're going to make is to drop the right rear tire pressure. It's getting a little hot there as he's trying to negotiate traffic. So Adrian hits his mark perfectly, and now the pressure's on this crew. They haven't led a race since Portland when they captured that win there. A great day for Adrian Fernandez. Can he get his 9th career victory? Good clean stop for the Fernandez boys.
And they stream back out into this very narrow pit lane. Oh, Oriol Servia just gets out ahead of Paul Tracy. And I don't see any change in position there in the pits.
The exact same order they came in. Fernandez, Junqueira, Servia, Tracy, Bourdais, and Jourdain.
Cart Simple Green safety team out there to attend to Jeff Boss. Here's a problem. This is Ryan Hunter-Ray, the young American rookie from Florida, stalled. Crew's going to have to pull him back, plug in the external starter to get him started once again. Boy, he has had a tough weekend here in front of his home fans, including a heavy crash in practice. CBS Sports coverage of the Grand Prix Americas will continue after this message and a word from your local station. Miami, we are under caution. We are back under caution. While we were away, Oriol Servia on a restart. Watch what happens. He is the orange and white car, comes off that bumpy corner, gets out of control, and scrapes along the outside wall. From onboard, Paul Tracy. to green on lap number 54 of 135 scheduled on an exceedingly warm and humid day here in Miami, Florida.
And you saw Sebastian Bourdais looking the inside of Paul Tracy. Now the shoe's on the other foot for the Newman-Haas team. Bruno had to be careful because he's in the championship hunt when Adrian showed him his nose. Now the same thing applies with Bourdais. Add to that the fact that Bourdais would love to help out Junqueira.
As he said he would do. It's all about the championship. If he can Bruno Junqueira somehow, he will. And Bourdais was the fastest car in the morning warm-up, so he has that weapon in his arsenal.
When I heard Paul Tracy at the start of the race say, I'm going to drive like I always do, you wonder if that's really pre-race bluster or if he really is. If driving like he always does to me says he's just going to drive every corner like there's no added significance of the championship. And that's how he's driven this year. He is in front, but you could argue that it hasn't always been the best course of action.
Leaders running nose to tail. Very tricky section here. You see the different colors of concrete pavement. Each one has its own coefficient of... Oh, Tracy getting squirrely under braking there, trying to stay out of the back of the car ahead of him.
This is a tough spot for Paul because he can't take any unnecessary chances trying to get around Bruno. Meanwhile, he has Bourdais turning up the heat from the back.
Cosworth turbo engines rev to 12,000 RPM. There's Michel Jourdain, who has qualified well this year, unlike last year where he often found himself in the second half of the grid and had to fight his way forward, often without success. This year, he's not only qualified well, he has been terrific in traffic.
Now Bourdais, oh, look at that wiggle by Bourdais. Huge bit of opposite lock, almost snapped the car back to the right into the wall, and he's fallen back under some pressure from Michel Jourdain.
I don't know how he kept that off the wall.
Quick hands is how he kept that off the wall.
Comes flashing down Biscayne Boulevard. Let's take another look at what happened to Sebastian Bourdais as they come down to the end of the back of Bayfront Park, right along Biscayne Bay.
And that corner where he had that slide going is one of the concrete sections of the track. And the concrete here in Miami is kind of a pink color right here. And there's low grip until they hit the dark black asphalt. So they...
Here's another look. What if there's a lot of coral in it that gives it that rose color? Oh. A lurid lunge to the wall, driver right. That got his heart going. Look at the cars bounding over that bump between turns 13 and 14. The drivers have taken to calling it the ski jump. Officials tried to grind it down on Friday night, but they broke one machine trying and couldn't find another.
Jimmy Vasser used a motocross analogy. He says it's almost like a whoop section on a supercross track. He says my car's not very good over the whoops.
Tracy's hands look pretty calm.
Before that first pit stop, he was complaining of oversteer. Don't know if he made any adjustments on the stop. Listen to that wheel spin. Still quite a bit of wheel spin out of the 3 machine. Hear that engine racing with that 750 horsepower when the turbo kicks in, lights those tires.
Athletic feat just to keep the car under control. When the turbo kicks in, you get all 750 horses. Oh, there's Rodolfo Levine, penalized earlier, now moving slowly. It appears he has problems. He'll set for the pit lane. We'll be back with more Champ Car racing from Miami, Florida in a moment here on CBS. Day, teammate at the Newman-Haas operation to Bruno Junqueira. Down the inside goes Bourdais. Tracy tries to return the favor. The result is contact. Both cars damaged. From another angle, Tracy continued. Bourdais did not. Here's Brian Till.
I'm sure you're not particularly pleased with what just happened on the racetrack.
I don't know. I mean, it's a 50-50 deal. I mean, he was trying to make moves on me, and he made a big dive, and then I squared him up and tried to get back by, and I was a little bit in there, but probably not enough. So disappointing weekend all around.
Not a good weekend, but in the championship, you still got 3 to go. You can hold on to this thing, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, we just have to regroup. We didn't have a great weekend this weekend. We need to regroup for Mexico and try to bounce back like we did after Elkhart.
Well, they've done it before, guys. He's got 6 wins. Don't count him out. Got a long way to go.
But the points leader is out, and as a result, with the running order as it is, should the race end, Paul Tracy would have but a 3-point lead over Bruno Junqueira, while Michel Jourdain Jr. would move to 27 points out. That action taking place on lap 69 of 135. Another look. That has a huge impact on the championship as well as the race. CBS Sports coverage of the Grand Prix Americas will continue after this message and a word from your local station. On board now with Mario Haberfeld, a rookie from Brazil who spent 4 years in the FIA Formula 3000 series in Europe. He's been a key player in an interesting sidebar story this weekend, filming an episode of the CBS hit drama CSI Miami. Using this race weekend as the backdrop for a mystery, we won't go into the details. The episode is tentatively scheduled to air on November 10th, so check your local listings. And this race will be a big part of that episode of CSI Miami.
I'll give you a little hint. In racing, the guy that is on the fuel tank is known as the dead man. So obviously every CSI involves dead people, so check it out.
This team, MyJack Conquest Racing, new to the series this year, made a suspension change to the front of the car that just revitalized it a couple of races ago. Having said that, Haberfeld has had his hands full this weekend. Right now he chases fellow rookie Tiago Montero right there in the Dayglow orange and blue car. The colors of the car, Montero, mimic those on the helmet of team co-owner Emerson Fittipaldi, the Indianapolis 500 winner, Formula One world champion, and kart champ car titleist.
Speaking of helmets, Montero is running his normal helmet in the race, but all weekend he's been running a different helmet design that is part of this charity called the Childhood Foundation, which was founded by the Queen of Sweden, who is a friend of Jamie Digman's, Emerson Fittipaldi's partner. 1,400 kids that are in these projects in Brazil submitted designs, and the winner was chosen, and Montero has been wearing that helmet design all weekend. Didn't fit his Hans device perfectly, so he's not racing it, but that helmet is also being auctioned off to benefit the Childhood Foundation.
The Hans device is the head restraint device, drapes over the driver's shoulders, fastened under the seat belts. And it's time for final stops for the top 9 cars. Alvin Fish awaits the leader.
Well, once again, they crawl down pit lane at 35 miles an hour, and this should be a time fuel stop. It's about 25 gallons that these leaders will need to get to the checkered flag. That should coincide approximately with the tire change. So Adrian hits his marks, and the keeper, Bruno Junqueira, is a bit further towards pit out, so maybe they can gauge Adrian's stop and try and send him a little bit early. Tire change is done, waiting for a bit more fuel. Adrian's away. Is he going to beat Bruno Junqueira? He does. He keeps the lead, and we have a problem in pit lane here, Bob.
Junqueira got together with another car. Looks like Montero.
No, it was Tiago Montero there and Tagliani.
Brian Till, what can you tell us?
It was Michel Jourdain who made a great stop. They came in, they got tires, and they were waiting for the fuel to go. And just as they sent him, Tiago Montero came in. They made contact as Jourdain left his stop. But it looked like there was no damage to Jourdain's car or Montero's. It'll be interesting to see once they get on track and up to speed.
Mika Salo stayed out, takes over second place behind Bruno Junqueira. And now he moves to the race lead on timing and scoring. As Fernandez and Junqueira make their way around. They went in 1-2, came out in the same order, but not in the same place in the queue. Right now the order is Mika Salo, Patrick Carpentier, and then I believe Adrian Fernandez slots into third. There is Salo with 110 Formula One starts on his resume. But because Formula One cars for many years have done their shifting with paddles placed on the steering wheel, it's been about 8 years since Mika Salo has actually used a gear shift lever. Here is Jourdain leaving his pits. Here comes Montero.
And the tight quarters, Montero was trying to get into his pit stall right as Jourdain was coming out. The tightness, the confines of the pits here are why the speed was lowered from 50 to 35 miles an hour. And that's just close quarters.
It looked as though Mario Haberfeld's team had gotten into the pit lane, laid down the tires, and that was what Junqueira was trying to get around when he made contact with Montero. And he had a clear pit in front of him. He might have avoided that contact. Car looks to be all right. Jourdain currently shown 5th. Oh, Junqueira and Fernandez, the race leader, get together with Thiago Montero.
And Fernandez has stalled it.
What happened there? Fernandez is asking for a push. Full course yellow, pits are closed.
There's a pretty big gap. Oh.
Junqueira, see the back of his car to the left of your screen.
I guarantee he's going nuts in the cockpit wanting to push.
Oh, this is unbelievable. Now they have to wait for cars to go by before they can push Fernandez. He'll drop the clutch. No, he waited too long. Well, we'll take a break while this goes on. We'll show you what happened when we return. Stand by for more after a dramatic turn of events here in Miami. Caution once again, and the leaderboard has really taken a shaking up. Moments ago, race leader Adrian Fernandez and second place Bruno Junqueira tangled while lapping the car of Thiago Montero, and both are still in the process of getting back underway. Now let's take another look at what happened just before we went to commercial break. Montero on the left, Fernandez and Junqueira on the right. Junqueira locked up, it looked like, to avoid getting in the back of Fernandez, and then slewed across in front of Montero.
That's that slick concrete, the kind of rose-colored concrete, and Bruno lost it.
Well, let's watch it in real time and see how quickly it happened. Junqueira's hands came off the steering wheel.
I think when the right got into
got a flat right front, it looks like. Finally refired, front end damage as well. So Bruno heads for the pit lane. Calvin Fish
down here with Tom Anderson. Tom, you were so excited after that stop. You beat Manning out, which is going to be critical to victory, and then all hell broke loose.
Yeah, I guess it looked like Bruno was feeling sorry for Paul and wanted to keep it closer in the championship. I mean, he threw away a lot of points there, and unfortunately it took us with him. And I mean, the Ducati car is running pretty strong today, so we're pretty pleased. We'll see what we can get here. I'd look for Adrian to pass a few before this is over.
Okay, hopefully the car is healthy. Let's go down to Brian Till.
Well, here with Bobby Rahal. Bobby, tense moments in pit lane there on that last stop. Very narrow pit lane, but I know there was some discussion down here with the officials about a possible penalty.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you know, Montero's down here, and he really needs to let the guy was leaving, because he was turning into us as we were coming out of our pit. We were within our lane and everything, so he actually drove into the side of us. And you know, I don't know what's going on here, but I can't believe they're going to, if they made a penalty to affect the championship over something as gray as that, would be pretty ridiculous, if you ask me.
Well, Scott Rimke pleading your case. Any word on the ruling?
I don't know anything yet. We'll see.
We'll wait for the jury. It's still out. Calvin?
Down here in Bruno Junqueira's pit, he is in. They've changed the nose assembly. They're looking over the suspension right now. I don't see any kinks in the suspension, but when you take a hit like that, we're going to have to wait and see when he gets a few laps under his belt. But being caught there without refiring the car, he's really not going to be in the thick of the points today.
Judging from the paint color, it looks like they perhaps went to his teammate's car, Sebastian Bourdais, to get a nose piece to put on Bruno Junqueira. While we have a moment, we'd like to send a word out to some friends. Steve Shear is our CBS producer on some of these Champ Car broadcasts. He had to leave us this morning, but the news is all good. We understand his wife Sandy gave birth to twins this morning, so congratulations to Steve and Sandy. Elsewhere, an old friend of ours car Skip Van Vliet, who was a part of our crew on these broadcasts, passed away, unfortunately, from complications arising from heart transplant surgery. Our condolences go out to his widow, Kim. And an old member of the Champ Car family, Doug Shearson, a great car owner for many, many years, whose driver Al Unser Jr. lost the championship here in Miami on the old Tamiami Park circuit back in 1985 to his father, Al Sr., driving for Roger Penske. Doug Shearson called that perhaps the biggest disappointment of his racing life. He's in hospice back home. We know he's looking in. Doug, your friends here in the Champ Car Series are thinking about you. Here's a look at the championship as of now after all these dramatic developments. Paul Tracy remains the points leader now that Bruno Junqueira has fallen back, and at this point trails Tracy by 17 points in our hypothetical championship. Michel Jourdain 19 points out. Sebastian Bourdais 62. And Patrick Carpentier would be mathematically eliminated from championship contention as things currently stand. Now here's another look at Michel Jourdain's pit stop when he made contact with the incoming Thiago Monteiro.
Now that tire there is what Jourdain was going around. The key is I really don't see a penalty here for Jourdain. There's supposed to be 3 lanes. The one they're stopped in, the middle one, and then the outside one. Montero was not all the way over in the outside lane, but rule 6.7.27 applies to this, and it says drivers moving from the outside to the inside lane must give way to race cars in the inside lane and not force cars in the inside lane to slow or take evasive action. We'll continue with that after we go green.
Down here in the Newman Hospice, Peter Gibbons was pacing. He's just furious with what happened out there on track. And TK, maybe that's really what Bruno likes. He runs the car on the nose a little bit. It really gets light on the rear end, and when you get caught up in traffic, it caught him out again, just as he did in Montreal.
We are back underway. Oh, Jimmy Vasser gets all kinds of sideways, and Mario Haberfeld gets into him.
Salo takes advantage of that. There's something caught in the vortex generators on the right side part of Vasser's car. Looks like a trash bag.
On board with Haberfeld.
A coin car down the escape road.
And a slow car moving. That is Alex Tagliani.
With right front and left front suspension damage. You see the wrinkled wishbones on the left front.
Yep. All right, buddy.
Team timing trying to calm their driver. Not surprising that someone suffered damage and all of that toing and froing. That is Alex Sparafico making only his second Champ Car start for Dale Coyne Racing. And he's going to need some help. Boy, they've been busy down in that corner. The order is Jourdain, Manning, Dominguez, Moreno, Salo, Vasser, Haberfeld, Carpentier, and Tagliani now having fallen aside. That moves Adrian Fernandez up to 9th, and rookie Ryan Hunter-Reay, one of the local favorites, to 10th. What an amazing race, and we still have 34 laps to go. CBS Sports coverage of the Grand Prix Americas will continue after this message and a word from your local station. Manning, running an alternate pit strategy, moves to the front of the queue, but immediately he comes under attack from Mario Dominguez and his teammate Roberto Moreno, and it looks as though Manning's car is not quite right. Also, while we're away, Michel Jourdain Jr. was sent to the back of the pack for that pit lane fracas we saw earlier, and his team must not be happy. On board with Mario Haberfeld.
I'm not happy about that. I'll tell you what. I think they're...
Well, let me interrupt you there, TK. Calvin Fish has gone to Jourdain's pit. Take it away.
Down here at Team Rahal, Bobby doesn't want to talk. I'm going to catch a word here with Ray Lido. Ray, with Bruno and PT having problems today, this is a big opportunity, and now it's gone away potentially. Your thoughts on the call?
Well, it seems like everybody that's in the championship had some problems today. You know, it was a bang-bang call down here. Greg waved him out. We thought we had plenty of room. Diego was coming into his pit. It was kind of a wheel-to-wheel deal. We didn't think it was bad. You know, they called us for waving out in front of traffic, but, you know, I think it was a pretty hard call, actually.
They tried to clarify this earlier in the season. We had a similar situation early on, and they said if the car's coming in, he has to make way for the car leaving the pit box, and you were underway, you're saying, before Thiago got alongside.
Well, obviously, that's what we think. He's 2 pits away from us. He's breaking into his pit box. We stayed in the tight lane, And, you know,
You guys want to talk to
that's
Keith Wiggins?
what we thought we were doing the right thing there. But, you know, that's how it goes. Calvin, can I say that I wanted to thank everybody at home for a tough year. Everybody at Team Rahal, the shop guys have been doing a great job. That's why we're in the position we're in like this every week.
Okay, well, they're always in contention. Big smile on his face, but certainly disappointment at the same time.
Well, I agree. That was a tough call to send Jourdain to the back. We'll have to look at the rule book and talk that one over again. I was under the impression, Tommy, that the incoming cars had to give way. There's another look.
Well, after Long Beach last year, where Fernandez and D'Amata got together, that was the clarification that was added. It put more of the burden on the car coming in. The real culprit here is the tire that was laid out by Haberfeld's guys, and it forced Jourdain to go out. Thiago was about 3 feet further to the right than he could have been. All those things. I wouldn't probably slam anyone with a penalty, but it was all those things put together.
And look where we are now. The Erdes competition team, which has never had a 1-2 in its long history. In fact, the victories have been few and far between, the most recent coming in the hands of Mario Dominguez, who now leads last year at Surfers Paradise in more controversial circumstances, a heavy downpour in that case. Right now, they run 1-2 on the racetrack. What a spectacular performance as the laps begin to run down. If they could hold on, what a fiesta we would have. And keep in mind, Mario Dominguez is from Mexico City, and that's where the series is going in 2 weeks. There is his team owner, Keith Wiggins. Let's go down to Brian Till.
Keith Wiggins, this is a place where you guys have worked and worked to get to. You're leading the race, no stops left. What's it going to take to get on the podium?
I would say no mistakes. No, I mean, at this point, you know, positions and everybody there, we've just got to, everything's got to go right. They don't make any mistakes. I think we should be all right in theory.
And a victory for this team, how much would that mean to you guys?
Well, I'd prefer you ask me that question at the end of the race, but it's been a long time since Australia, and this would be a good way to do some of the ups and downs that we've had.
You heard it, guys. It's been a long time since Australia, and they'd like to win one when it's dry and the track is competitive. So hang on, keep their fingers crossed.
Well, it has been competitive today. We'll see if Dominguez and Moreno can hold on and bring his team that 1-2. We'll be back for the finish of the Champ Car Grand Prix Americas. Look at our race summary. 8 lead changes among 6 drivers. The average speed just under 75 miles an hour thanks to 6 caution flags for a total of 31 laps. 9 cars out of the race. Very heavy attrition, but again, that's not uncommon on street circuits with these open wheel race cars. 6 laps to go to the checkers next time by. These teams work so hard to find every 1/10 of a second. In qualifying, they're even looking at lightweight paints to use on the cars. And then, of course, they go out and just thrash them between concrete walls at high speeds. Down to turn 1. Should be Vassar, still able to keep Mario Haberfeld behind him. There's the race leader, Mario Dominguez, who has opened quite a gap over his teammate Roberto Moreno, now some 3.5 seconds behind. Meanwhile, Darren Manning sadly has called it a day. His run of consecutive top 10 finishes will end at 8. Let's hear from him.
Well, he led on his debut in England last year. He led again today, Darren. What happened?
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, we had to pit out a sequence. I thought I clipped the wall when we pitted really early. So we kept pitting, but there was nothing wrong. And that put us back up in the lead. So we were looking quite good, especially if there was going to be another yellow at the end there. But I had a really old set of tyres on because we didn't have any others in the pits. We pitted so many times. And I just locked up on the down change as everybody was coming through. So bit of a shame because we'd have probably picked up another top 10 in 8.
Talk about the conditions. You look pretty hot and sweaty, certainly. I mean, you do that just walking down pit lane here, but talk about the conditions from the driving perspective.
Yeah, it's terrible out there, really. I mean, it's so humid. It's pretty good that there's been some yellow, so you can open the visor a little bit. You use all your drinks bottle, but I'm not too bad. I'm just a bit wet. An early shower.
All right, we saw earlier in the year what he keeps in his refrigerator, Bob, so hopefully he's got some good storage there.
That's right. Darren let us look in his refrigerator, and you can do scientific experimentation on some of the living organisms in there. How about this guy, Roberto Moreno, 44 years young. A couple of victories, a couple of poles. Started this champ car racing business back in 1985 with Gallus Racing. He has Formula One experience. He's driven sports cars. For the longest time, he was known as Super Sub. Car owners would go looking for Roberto Moreno when their primary driver went down because they knew he would give them a quality effort. Here's Mika Salo. Great run and only his second start in champ cars. 3 laps to go. Jimmy Vasser, the 96 Series champion. Haberfeld hanging tough in 5th. This would be a great run for Jimmy, who's had a lot of rough efforts this year. At the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, he was an absolute lightning bolt, coming from the back of the field up to the front before spinning off late in the race. Man, what a drive.
Haberfeld starting to apply some pressure to Jimmy. Not close enough to try a move in turn 1.
This group, Michel Jourdain has tried a lunge down the inside of Patrick Carpentier in turn 1 on a couple of occasions. Hasn't been able to get it done. White flag. White flag over Mario Dominguez. We started the day with 19 cars. We have 10 still running. What a glorious moment it will be for this team if they can get a 1-2 finish. It's now called Erdez competition. But it began as Bettenhausen Motorsports back in 1986.
I'd buy dinner for anyone who picked this podium.
Any takers? I'll give you TK's phone number. Now is when the demons start to creep up and a driver starts to listen for any strange noise. But it's too late now. Mario Dominguez could coast across the line to his second career victory. And in the minds of many, including perhaps Mario himself, this one was definitely earned. So the corner workers begin their flag dance, the tradition in motor racing. We'll be back to hear from our winners. Stay with us.
Down here for the Erdez team, Mario Dominguez, your second one, but this one is a lot more special than the first, I'm sure.
This is it. We earned it. The team fought hard for it. We did great pit stops. That's what made us go to the lead. We got a little lucky with the accidents in front. And Roberto, my teammate, helped me. We did the first 1-2 for the Erdez competition team in history. We are number 1!
We got Roberto. We got the old boy. You put some pressure on this young man today, but he responded. A great result for the whole team.
Listen, I knew he was going to make it. I just didn't know I was going to be on the podium with him when it happened. It's just fantastic. Great effort for the Erdez competition team. I'm sorry, Enrique, you're not here to celebrate with us, but we'll celebrate for you, don't worry.
Let's try and catch another word here with Mario. Mario, talk about the race. Talk about what happened. I mean, you really pushed hard throughout. You got into a strong position, but there was just a lot of chaos going out there with championship contenders as well.
We knew it was going to be very tough to pass, so we had to save the tires at the beginning, take it easy, and we got lucky. There was a lot of casualties in front of us, but we fought hard for it. Great pit stops. We drove hard the whole race, and what can I say? Our first win this year is unbelievable. Gracias, viva Mexico!
What you saw of Ivan solely on adrenaline. You talked about how much you sweat in these conditions. It's a long, tough day. How tired are you?
Look at me. I must see if I jump into a pool and now I got out, but I'm not tired. We just won, so I'm not tired at all. Thank you to Erdez competition for giving me the opportunity to be in card. We're going to go to Mexico City in a couple of weeks. and we're going to try to get the same result. Thanks to my whole team. Viva Mexico, Viva Verdes!
You hear the noise, Bob. They're excited. Great result for this team.
Absolutely, and what a party it'll be in 2 weeks' time in the next round of the championship at Mexico City. Coming from 8th to 1st, that's the greatest run by a race winner in this Champ Car season. Best ever finish for the PK Racing team. Driver Mika Salo in 3rd place. Tommy Kendall, final thoughts?
I think every championship contender will wish they could have this one to do over again, but how about going to Mexico? First, we thought it was going to be Fernandez leading it in there victorious, then Jourdain, finally Dominguez.
8 drivers live in the Miami area. All 8 were shut out today as Mario Dominguez came through to victory. We hope you've enjoyed Champ Car Racing here on CBS Sports this year, and we thank you for joining us. Our thanks to everyone from CBS for helping to make it possible. So for Tommy Kendall, Brian Till, and Calvin Fish, I'm Bob Varsha saying so long from Miami, Florida, where Mario Dominguez has won the Grand Prix Americas. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports.